If you own property in Dhaka, you probably think of long-term leases as the standard way to do things. But, something big is happening in the rental market right now. There's a huge shift, creating a brand new opportunity. And today, we're going to break down exactly what that is and how you can get in on it. And here it is. This is the number that's making everyone sit up and pay attention. A projected annual revenue growth of about 13% for short-term rentals in Bangladesh by 2026. Now, that's not just a tiny increase. We're talking about a major jump over what you'd get from a traditional rental. It's a huge reason to start rethinking your whole strategy. So, with that kind of explosive growth on the table, the big question is, how can you, as a property owner in a city like Dhaka, actually tap into this? Well, that is exactly what we're here to figure out. First things first, let's talk about what's happening. It's really like a rental revolution, a move away from those strict year-long contracts to something way more flexible. It's all about furnished housing that's ready to go, and it's perfect for a whole new type of renter. So, what exactly is a short-term rental? It's pretty simple, really. It's a fully furnished place, could be an apartment, a whole house, or even just one room that you can rent for a few days, a few weeks, or up to several months. The key here is who's renting. We're talking tourists on holiday, business travelers on a project, and even people visiting for medical reasons who need a comfortable spot near a hospital. They're the ones driving all this demand. All right, let's dive into the actual numbers. The idea sounds good, but the data is what tells the real story. Here's a look at what the market is projected to be in 2026. Okay, so this chart here shows us the key numbers for the Dhaka market in 2026. You can see everything from how many listings are active to the expected occupancy rates. I mean, just take a second to look at these figures. This is the kind of forecast that smart investors and property owners are really paying close attention to right now. Let's zoom in on one really important number, the average daily rate, or ADR. In Dhaka, it's expected to be somewhere between 4,200 and 4,400 taka a day. Now, just think about that for a second. Compare that to what a long-term lease brings in per day. That difference, well, that's where the potential for much higher earnings comes from. But of course, your place won't be booked every single night of the year. And that's where the occupancy rate comes in. At an estimated 42 to 44%, this is a super important number for figuring out what you'll actually earn in a year. It's a realistic look at the market, and it shows there's a really steady demand for these places across the city. Now, to really put this into perspective, just look at this comparison. The global market for short-term rentals is growing at a pretty healthy 8.8%. But in Bangladesh, the supply is growing by a massive 40 to 45%. This just shows you how fast the local market is scrambling to keep up with all this new demand. It's not just a trend, it's a boom. You know what they say in real estate, right? Location, location, location. And it's absolutely true here. Success in this game is all about being in the right spots, these high-demand hotspots across Dhaka. So, where are they? The action is really concentrated in 4 prime neighborhoods: Gulshan, Bashundhara residential area, Uttara, and Dhanmondi. And what's interesting is that each of these areas serves a slightly different crowd, which makes them unique opportunities. First up, Gulshan. Think of this as the premium zone, the go-to for diplomats and top executives. People here are looking for high-quality, very secure places. The investment might be a bit higher, but you get a very stable, high-end clientele in return. Next, we have Bashundhara residential area. Because it's such a well-planned community, it's a total magnet for families and people looking for slightly longer stays. Think corporate relocations. That safe, modern feel is its biggest draw. Uttara's big advantage is all about its location. It's so close to the international airport, which makes it the perfect spot for quick business trips, airline crews, and even medical tourists who need convenience above all else. For them, time is everything, and Uttara is perfectly placed. And finally, Dhanmondi. It's right in the heart of the city with easy access to everything: restaurants, universities, you name it. So it attracts a really diverse mix of people, from professionals working in the city center to local travelers just exploring the capital. Okay. So the opportunity is definitely there. But let's be real, this isn't some set it and forget it kind of investment. There are some major upsides, for sure, but there are also some real challenges. You have to look at both sides before you even think about jumping in. Let's look at the landlord's ledger here. On the plus side, you've got that higher potential for revenue, and you have so much flexibility. You can even block off dates and use the place yourself. Plus, an occupied property is a secure property. But on the flip side, there's a higher risk of having empty nights between guests, more cleaning and maintenance, and it's way more hands-on. And of course, more guests means more wear and tear on everything.
So, knowing all that, how do you make sure the pros outweigh the cons? Well, success in this game isn't about luck. It's all about having the right strategy. We've boiled down all the expert advice into a simple 4-step plan to help you get the best returns.
Here it is. Number 1, become obsessed with guest reviews. Your reputation is everything, so being super clean and communicating well is a must. 2, plan your budget down to the last taka. You gotta factor in everything: cleaning, utilities, platform fees, so you're not caught by surprise. 3, stay on top of maintenance. Do regular checks so small issues don't become big, expensive headaches. And finally, number 4, get your finances organized. Keep good records because you might have to pay taxes on this income.
So, when you put it all together, what does it all mean? Let's get to the final bottom line on what the future of renting looks like in urban Bangladesh.
You know, this quote from the research really just says it all. Short-term renting isn't some crazy niche idea anymore. In a growing city like Dhaka, this model is now both totally viable and really, really profitable. It's becoming a huge part of the city's housing scene. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. The market is changing fast. It's being driven by this new need for flexibility and convenience. So the real question for anyone who owns property isn't if this change is happening. It's, is your property ready for it?